everyone. You listen to the sounds of them. Shout out to the band crew. Y'all motivated me to do this.
My name is Ryan Johnson. It's all good.
Soul of the flow, soul of the game. Some people blow, focus on the game. Some let it woe, never be the same. Some lose hope, focus on the blame. Soul of the flow, soul of the game. Some people broke, only got change. Some choose to fight, live through the pain. Just stand up and put them on the shame.
Face flush with a rush of different emotions. Straight thrust, feel a rush just like an ocean. Mind rolls like a film with your eyes closed, sweat froze. Hit the toe, up in your trench clothes. Let go of the tears that's rolling in. Then you grab hold of a spirit with no fear. Soul of the flow, so vivid your mind goes. Fighting Joe Blow, but John Doe with a long road. Then your focus gets shot, bumping funky jump. Practice in the dojo with a drunken monkey style. Then you take a back, like you do is grabbing your bumps with no belly now. To the point, purple your knuckles and you all in. Shake off clothes upon your chin on your last win. With fatigue, hating your limbs, man, I gotta win. Through the lethal weasels, it's evil, deceitful measles with needles, injecting evil in people.
Soul of the flow, soul of the game. Some people blow, focus on the game. Some let it woe, never be the same. Some lose hope, focus on the blame. Soul of the flow, soul of the game. Some people broke, only got change. Some choose to fight, live through the pain. Just stand up and put them on the
She's
shine.
a kingpin and a couple of kingsmen. Sat on my throne with a couple of kingsmen. So I rule my sector with a couple of kings heckler. In this life of checkers, I play with a couple predators. This is my hour, just give me a minute of time. This is my power, slowly committed to mine. To my prime at the peak, I'm only playing for keeps. All my time in the streets is slowly beating the beast. Here's a crime, I want mines and everything that you own. I done climbed the big time and made it there on my own. From a row of broken homes and a couple of flip phones. I'm a hustler, right down to my chromosomes. This is my home, from the bumps, missing in alleyways. This is my hustle, I call it the Annie Hathaway. I tried to fade away, but drugs got me locked away. Father just passed away, sleeping on the couch today.
Soul of the flow, soul of the game. Some people blow, focus on the game. Some let it woe, never be the same. Some lose hope, focus on the blame. Soul of the flow, soul of the game. Some people broke, only got change. Some choose to fight, live through the pain. Just stand up and put them on the
Yeah,
shame.
I'm motivated, I done made it being incarcerated. Breaking the shackles of life, I'm so determinated. Because they want you to lose, bruise with an over scab. I'd rather lose with a sidekick and a couple jabs. Grab my life, but I'm always riding a Brahma bull. You keep punching the clock and then kicking them rocks. This life will stab you with thorns more than a handful. Change your life on the spot and just harden the knock. Take it verbatim, cause there ain't no kind of ultimatum. Today you're fighting, yeah, wait harder than Channing Tatum. I only have one life, I know the clock is ticking. And I'll let you have without a pot to pissing. Killing the competition, inking my composition. Switching the transmission into the top position. I hope you really listen, I'm strictly on the mission. This is the definition of what the game is missing.
Soul of the flow, soul of the game. Some people blow, focus on the game. Some let it woe, never be the same. Some lose hope, focus on the blame. Soul of the flow, soul of the game. Some people broke, only got change. Some choose to fight, live through the pain. Just stand up and put them on the shame. Soul of the flow, soul of the game. Some people blow, focus on the game. Some let it woe, never be the same. Some lose hope, focus on the blame. Soul of the flow.
My name is Willie Johnson, and welcome to Willie the Bam Johnson's Secret of a Complete Martial Artist. The first part of our film, which we know you're going to enjoy, deals with the subject matter of two lifestyles at war. As the reading in the book goes this way, which I will read to you straight from the book. Although on the outside, I seemed to have everything together, on the inside, my life was a mess. I had become a father in my early teens, and at the same time was recognized as a national martial arts champion. With a room full of trophies, having my own school stroke my ego, but because I wasn't bringing home a regular paycheck, it became a constant struggle to pay the bills and keep enough food in the house. Pride, or maybe fear, kept me from telling Master Brown about my situation. The opposite of these two lifestyles kept me on a continuous swinging pendulum. This was one of the hardest battles of my life because I was making no money from the school and was being harassed by the police. When I had finally put the drug dealing lifestyle behind me, it was at the moment that I learned one of life's most valuable lessons. It is impossible to hold on to a negative lifestyle without interfering with and eventually smothering your positive life.
Told you hold them pads right. I want the ball. Man, you hear me? That school worth millions. Man, them little bio citizens worse than them criminals. Hey, I want my book. Get my book. I'll do this my way. I'm gonna live a large in the process. Oh, and them little dirty kung fu kids, got something for them. Yeah, got something for them.
I know you enjoyed that. This movie just sends chills through my body, keeps my smiles going, makes me proud of my family. Most importantly, it makes me proud of the message that we're trying to get out to the world right now. As we move on and think about this next scene, we call this one from the book, Encountering a Bully. This one scene was really based upon a real-life encounter with my son Messiah and friends, or let's say so-called friends, he thought he had in middle school. And as a parent, once again, you can do everything you can possibly do to prepare your kids for the art of fighting without fighting. But one day, the test is going to come, and you got to do your very best to be prepared. It goes beyond role-playing and talking about saying, bully, I don't want any trouble. You got to learn how to be a good actor. You got to learn how to really engage and understand the possibilities of what can happen if all else fails. And most importantly, do our children have the heart, the desire, the strength, and technical skills to be able to defend themselves and deal with such encounter? As the book says, when you come across a bully, it is important to understand that there are several different tools you can use to escape a fight. To avoid these situations altogether, it helps to know what type of bullies there are and what weapons they will use to try to put you down. In the book, which I know you have, you can read about these principles of dealing with a bully and understanding the behavior of a bully.
Hold up, fellas. We're gonna walk and talk today. So stand over here. I want to talk to your brother. Anything you need to discuss with me?
No,
Sure.
I wouldn't have anything to discuss with you.
Nothing you want to tell me?
No.
So what's this video that I was sent on Instagram?
Also, you should be worrying about him.
Where you get them new shoes from?
They work yet.
You know I can get them for free? Nah, whatever. I'll fight you with them.
I'm not gonna fight you. You a girl. Come on, hit him. Hit him. He ain't got no moves. Ooh, ooh, that gotta hurt. Oh my God. Run, come on. You won.
And you just want to be mine.
You wanna be my?
Be mine.
Be my,
Be my friend.
be my friend.
Perfect.
Leave me be, 'cause I don't wanna take so much. Please don't believe me, 'cause I don't wanna take so. You can only take so, take so much. Don't talk to me, 'cause I just wanna be your friend. Please don't believe me, 'cause I just wanna be yours. You can really be my friend.
Let me tell you a little story about a boy named Ted. Kids caught in Scarface, couple knots in the head. Used to make fun of him, point right in his face. Then a bully named John spit right in his face. Then he took his book bag and knocked him down to the ground. The ugly clown clamped down, started beating the ground. Body shots and elbows, he started breaking him down. Turned his head into a locker, crackle poppers and things. With a snap right crispy, wasn't really a treat. Cause it struck him in the shin and brought him right to his feet. He got expelled and oh well, what do you do? So he joined the dojo and his confidence grew. Twisted sticks of bamboo, listen to Wu-Tang crew. Cause Mr. Bam and his crew, he can go back to school. John tries to swing at him, now he's blocking the blows. He backs up, takes the bow, shakes his hand and he rolls.
Leave me be, 'cause I don't wanna take so much. Please don't believe me, 'cause I don't wanna take so. You can only take so, take so much. Don't talk to me, 'cause I just wanna be your friend. Please don't believe me, 'cause I just wanna be yours. You can really be my friend.
Remember Teddy got bullied by a boy named John? Now them dudes is best friends, can you believe that one? But John, still a bully, moved on to Ted's friend. Now the whole cycle of bullying goes on again. Where does it end? Little Ted could've nipped it in the butt. So John to knock it off and be nicer to his butt. But John told Ted, man, you better pick a side. So Ted told Clyde he can kiss his backside. They started to divide and Clyde was broadsided. Plus he got a note from Ted and his word was misguided. I quote, Clyde, I hate you, you're pathetic, you're weak. You look like a pumping baby with scabies and club feet. Skin texture like a lady that's greasy with diabetes. Hope you have a nice day and die in the worst way. Clyde started to cry, a couple tears in his eyes. Clyde hit the head and just never replied.
Leave me be, 'cause I don't wanna take so much. Please don't believe me, 'cause I don't wanna take so. You can only take so, take so much. Don't talk to me, 'cause I just wanna be your friend. Please don't believe me, 'cause I just wanna be yours. You can really be my friend.
Let me leave you with a girl named Kim in high school. She was a cool little book smart girl that followed rules. Getting bullied by a girl named Demi. She met in Kemi. Always wore a mini skirt, was a flirt, and drove a Hemi. Whoa, Nelly. Kim said when Demi approached her, oh Kelly. Brandy and Nikki, they started to roast her. Let's keep things kosher, man said at a glance. Then he breaks the fight up while doing the shoot dance. By chance, they all meet up inside the auditorium. It says his name is Seth, standing nervous at the podium. He tells a little story of his close friend Clyde. How bullying broke his pride and drove him to suicide. But you get she's aside. Ain't no need to be cruel. Poking fun at somebody's flaws shows the character in you. Kim and Demi were never friends, but they kept it for life. So I pray every day you don't get bullied in your life. Yeah.
Leave me be, 'cause I don't wanna take so much. Please don't believe me, 'cause I don't wanna take so. You can only take so, take so much. Don't talk to me, 'cause I just wanna be your friend. Please don't believe me, 'cause I just wanna be yours. You can really be my friend.
Please don't bully me.
I take so.
You can only take so.
much.
Say you can only take so.
You can only take so.
Take so.
Take so.
Take so much.
Take so much.
Come talk to me.
Come talk to me,
'Cause I just want to be your
friend.
What is that? What is that? It's not good, man. Every time somebody goes to research you, that's gonna come up. They're standing around egging you on to fight and filming it for social media. What kind of friend is that? You, stop kicking the dirt. You need to hear this too. Do you understand what I'm saying? Pick your friends wiser. These kids aren't your friends, man. People who would stand around and film you or try to egg you on to fight somebody, you practice the art of fighting without fighting. That means you should know the fight is about to happen. You should be able to disengage from the situation before the physical even happens. You're a higher belt now. You should be able to work your way out of any situation. Do you understand what I'm saying? Especially if you're not hit first. You should be able to deflect, talk your way out of it, ignore it, and rise above it. These kids aren't your friends. Anybody who would stand around and do these kind of things to anybody, friends, associate, peers, whatever, that doesn't say a lot about their character. You have a lot at stake in your life. You are trying to build yourself to be a great person. I expect more of you. You understand? All right, so we're not going to go down this road ever again, are we? All right. You, stop kicking the dirt. You need to hear this too.
What did I do?
Now, I know you out your seats. The music, the action, the fun, the excitement, the family, and the real martial artists displaying their skills. This is incredible. Who knows? After enjoying this one, we might get the funding and support to do a full-length one that's at the level far beyond what you could see right now. But as we go on, the next scene that you will see represents this. In the book, we talk about use your creativity and imagination. And the book reads this: regardless of the circumstances, with a little creativity and a lot of determination, you can accomplish anything. In fact, there are no limits to what you can achieve, only those you place on yourself. Funding for Little League Baseball stopped. The kids who had been taken out of the projects into a better community, one where we were united with people of all races, were back on the streets with nothing to do, creatively kicking in, punching and flipping. It was always what we did to have fun as we practiced our street gymnastics. We learned this by taking old filthy mattresses and box springs, setting them up on top of each other, then began to practice flips as we fall down, got hurt, but got back up. My confidence soared, and suddenly I had heart to flip on concrete and off the roof, fences, cars, walls. One of my best was running up the wall doing backflips. And everything I came across, I was all about flipping and practicing martial arts. I got so interested in gymnastics that it was natural to combine it with my martial arts. And I had found something to get the attention of other martial artists, and it gave me an edge. By the time I was 11, Teenie had moved into her own house, and I took advantage of her empty bedroom, turning it into a homemade gym. I had Bruce Lee posters all over the walls, every type of homemade training equipment you could imagine, Wing Chun dummies, sandbags, speed bags, and several martial art weapons that I had made. I also had an extensive library of fighting books and martial art philosophy books and movies. I spent my days training and immersing myself into martial arts. It never occurred to me that I couldn't succeed in martial arts because I didn't have the best equipment or schools to train in. No. I did sit-ups, push-ups, jumping jacks, went running, practice forms, and shadowboxing. Anything I could think of to keep me moving towards my goal of wanting to be like Bruce Lee. Few people can have all the right equipment or perfect training environment. It's the ones who are willing to make do with what they have and go forward and dig down deep to tap into their creativity and become the best they can possibly be. Self-made martial artists, like our ancestors, believed in their ability, in their skill, in their God-gifted talent, and just went out and let the energy and the creativity flow. That's what this scene is all about. excited. You having fun? You got to be having fun because I'm having fun. Man, when I first say this, I was laughing so hard. I had tears running out of my eyes. But looking at the talent and all what we did, with no money. Guys, this was just out of love. And it was just a challenge to say, man, let me get back into doing something that I love and I always wanted to do. And I gave up. I gave up one when I came home to raise my son. And when you look at the WMAC Masters during that time when I was a part of one of the best TV shows, most historical martial art TV shows in history. And I got a chance to star in the TV show with my heroes, Bruce Lee's daughter, Shannon Lee, and working with the best fight choreographers in the world, Pat Johnson, Isaac Florentine, and the best martial artists who are now leaders in action films this day. But I had to make a choice at that time. Do I want to go to Hollywood to raise my kids? Or do I want to stay here, give it up, and allow my kids to be all they can be? And I just run the martial arts school. No, I did that, but inside of me, there was always a pull to do what I'm doing right now. That's to do movies and entertain people all over the world by going to the people and showing you that martial arts can change your life, not just in the dojo. Let me do all these things outside the dojo so you can go into the dojo, go to the community center, go to the school, wherever we can bring martial arts to so it can impact you and change your life like it did for me. But a better way than what I had, that's what this is all about. Here's the next scene in the movie that's a reflection of the book. Experiencing injustice. I remember one time I came home from a hard day of teaching. And because the crime had become so bad, off-duty policemen were walking the neighborhood. You had to show ID to get into your house. And I had forgotten mine at work. They wouldn't let me in my house. Yet I stood right there and watched a drug dealer get in without ID. I began to yell and scream. And the police came out and locked me up for just wanting to get in my house. After leaving the police station the next day, I refused to tell anyone about what happened. I was angry. I felt myself developing hatred for people in authority. When I went to court, I took my martial arts portfolio to show to the judge. He laughed at me and locked me up, using me as an example to all the people in the projects. The other message the judge sent that day was loud and clear. When he let a drug kingpin, who was a friend of mine and had got caught with drugs, go free. This was my first time being locked up. And it came at a time when I was trying to change. Things didn't immediately get better. On Independence Day in the projects, all the families sat in the hallways, drinking beer, eating crabs, and celebrating. We were not bothering anyone. We didn't go to any parks to watch fireworks. We had our fireworks right there. And that's what I was doing, playing with fireworks in the hallway, in front of my apartment, outside of our front door. My whole family, and even a girlfriend at that time, was sitting there and enjoying the scenery and having fun. 2 policemen walked up the hall, telling people to turn off their music, go inside. I guess they wanted to make sure things didn't get out of hand. Well, they came over and forcibly took the fireworks from me and knocked my mother down. Well, they came over and forcefully took the fireworks from me and knocked my mother down into an unconscious state, causing internal bleeding. They hit my 12-year-old niece and my pregnant girlfriend at the time, and of course, I was fighting them off. And I was mad. If my girlfriend at the time hadn't yelled for me to stop, I think the police would have shot me to get me off them. At that point, I surrendered, and they cuffed my hands behind my back. The cuffs were so tight that it was cutting off my circulation. And they began to realize they could not get into the elevator, so they ran me down the flight of stairs from the 9th floor. And as they ran me down the stairs, they tried to run my head into the wall. Because of my instincts and street creativity, I was able to hit my shoulders into the wall to stop them from busting my face and my head wide open. Now outside, they were trying to put me in the police car. When a crowd of people started yelling and screaming, people looking out the windows, it was like a riot, throwing things because they saw how the police had treated my family and me. One backup officer told them to loosen up those cuffs, stop being abusive. On our way to the police station, the two officers told me that if I wanted to make it out and avoid them pressing charges, I needed to plead guilty. I refused, and in court, I was given 2 years probation. After this experience, I decided to go back to the old way. I hated people in authority and certainly didn't trust them. Not after the experience that I had at that moment. And yet things like this happen every day in the ghetto.
Hey man, look, there goes one of them students right there.
Yo, we gotta get that student.
I agree. We can go back empty-handed. Let me go get the car.
What do you mean? I don't have time for this right now. No. Not acceptable. Come on, Faith, let's go.
Whatever.
Why are you always giving me so much
stupid.
attitude? I don't have time for this.
Whatever.
Time to argue all the time.
This is
Let's
so
go.
stupid.
You're
Just stop
always
making me
arguing.
do
I don't
this.
have time for this.
I don't care.
We're going to class.
Make me
Too
go
bad.
in there.
Let's go. You signed up for this.
Mom!
Open the door. Come on. Up here. Come on.
Go!
Get her in. Come on. Get up. Get in there. Come on. Get in. Get in. Come on. Get the door. What are you doing?
Come on, we gotta help.
You guys aren't going anywhere. Get out.
Hopefully you're still enjoying the movie. Some powerful topics. They've always been in the book. It's important that we read. We go beyond the internet, the things that we see on social media, and pick up a good old book and read it from the beginning to the end. Reading is important. They often say that if you want to keep something from a person, put it in a book. They're not going to read it. They will dumb down things through social media and all forms of communication. So your awareness and your ability to search for the answers and find your own way to express and bring about change will be lost because you will count on other people to do things for you. We cannot do that. That's why it's so important in this scene that we've got to understand that injustice comes in all shapes and forms. It's not just through authority. It's through your family members. It's through people touching you and doing things to you in the wrong way. You have to be aware and prevent these things from happening, from possibly being kidnapped, abused, kids being sold in sex trafficking, people in corporate America taking advantage and manipulating people. People in the martial arts industry not rewarding people and giving people an opportunity to grow. It's very important that we do our very best to prevent it from happening, but at the same time, not showing anger and not living with revenge and trying to pay people back and get back at them. And I learned that lesson, so I learned to love and forgive people for what they have done to me, and I deserve some of those things for what I had done. And today I'm able to interact and show respect for those in authority, and even work and teach their kids and empower our community together, because unity for the community is very important. The next scene talks about surrounding yourself with supportive people. Let me read what the book has to say. When going after something you love, it is important to surround yourself with people who will encourage and support you. However, if you do encounter people who are trying to influence you in a negative way or tear you down, your focus should always be on what is right for you, regardless of what other people tell you. Living in Baltimore's inner city, we often move from one housing projects to another. So I was always the new kid on the block. This meant I was constantly being picked on and beat up. I remember one bully encounter I had with a so-called friend. He had been playing football with me, and I had made some good plays. Well, I guess he got mad because he hauled off and punched me several times in my face. He was called my cousin, that's what I thought. When I looked up and seen this so-called cousin and friend continuing to hit me, everybody around just looked and watched, and I walked away wondering what the hell just happened. I was scared and wanted this guy to stop hitting me and punching me. To make matters worse, he took my shoes and embarrassed me and made me walk home barefoot.
Go back! Go back! Go back! How you doing, sir?
What's up? What was all that over there?
I just got what you want. I mean, I don't have what you want, sir. But I might have something.
Sir, stop, time out.
Sir,
what? Shh. We talked about the stuttering problem that you had when I first hired you.
Don't stutter, sir.
You do. So slow it down and tell me what happened and what you got for me.
I don't stutter.
You do stutter.
No,
We're gonna work on your stutter.
I don't, sir.
All right, so tell me what happened. Where's my book?
Sir, I don't have it, but I have something to do and get you closer to it.
I don't need to get close. What you got for me?
It's right there, right there.
What is that, the book?
It's faith.
I got faith too. I go to church. There. Praise the Lord. No,
it's one of the students, sir.
Oh, you kidnapping kids now. That's what you do.
No, sir, it's one of the students.
Yes, that is a kid. So you didn't put that together? You're not smart enough? That is a felony. I do not want to go to jail. I say get a book. A child and a book are two different things. One got pages, one brings felonies. Please get it together. What happened, brother? Explain this to me, brother.
Those kicks, I couldn't deal with it.
So, let me get this straight. You got beat up by a female and some kids. So what, she made y'all poop on yourself? See, what I'm gonna need y'all to do is get your life together. Move away from my car, just got these new tires on there. Take that child back. I'm ready to go get this book myself. See, this is why I don't hire people. You stuttering, he don't say nothing. Y'all just need to get it together. I don't know who hired y'all. I don't know who hired you. What the one with the head? He probably over there with the child. Tell him cut that head.
What you pushing me for? Go!
Did you tell you who get back
Really do.
Let's go. Move it.
Oh, so you decided to choose plan B. Okay, let's see what we finna do in here today. Oh, damn. Oh, you taking your shoes off?
Keep playing with me. Keep playing with me. Come on, yo.
Your weapons.
Okay, I got you.
Stay there! Told you I want the book! Good, what? Oh, this ain't no! This ain't no! 12 coming! Somebody call the police!
You enjoyed this film. As I said again, when you're determined for a better way of life, to tap into your God-given strengths and talents, and not allow yourself to react to the negative pull. I don't care what it is. COVID-19, rioting, violence, injustice, all the things that we tried to showcase in this film that are also things that are in our book. You must be determined to do so much better. You must be determined to be the better attitude maker when you enter the room or when you come in contact with people, places, and things. And if those things don't want to change, you got to know when to let them go and work and help people at a distance. This movie is important. This book is important. I did not know the power of any of this until I got to this point. Even during this time of COVID-19 and the violence, I realized that we had to figure out a way to get this message out to people. Let children, let families in, and you love this movie that much. Let's let the studios, let's let the investors know, hey man, Invest some money here. Let's get the full book completed in a movie form and show the world that kids are the future and parents are important, and we must deliver messages that will empower them, educate them, uplift them, and change the world as we know. During COVID-19 and the violence, the rioting, and all the things that are happening right now in our world today. To become a complete martial artist is about developing the mind, the body, and the spirit of a champion. A champion in all areas of our life. A champion in serving God. A champion in your family. A champion in your community. And a champion in your business that stands on the foundation of God, family, and community. I began writing this book in 1989 in a prison cell when I was so low, I had hit rock bottom, and I was in Baltimore City Jail, begging and pleading with God to make this stop. The choices I had made leading up to that point, after suffering so much negative despair that no kid should ever have to suffer, beginning at the age of 6, and seeing so much violence, and feeling so lost and so out of place. The only thing that empowered me and helped me was seeing Bruce Lee's movie, The Chinese Connection. On that screen, I did not see Bruce Lee. I seen me. I seen a person that can take a stand at a young age for kids that was probably suffering just like me. And all we wanted to do, and I know I did at that time, was to express myself. To be all what I felt inside of my heart and my soul, my creative expression of whatever God wanted me to express. And that gave me hope and gave me joy. So in that jail cell, in 1989, I pulled out a piece of paper and I begged and pleaded with God. After choosing to flush the drugs that I got locked up with, and I could have begun to keep taking and try to sell, to continue on with the insanity, instead, I made a choice. In the off the notes, I wrote this in that jail cell. I promise to be the best and most honest person I could be. To rely on the faith in my Creator and the willpower to let go and let God. I will seek to set goals that complement the inner me and not ones that are based upon worldly opinions anymore. Most importantly, I will leave the results up to God, no matter what. This year, in 1989, I will stop being blind and open my eyes and stop this insane behavior that brought me to this jail, Baltimore City Jail. I will not lie, steal, use drugs, or give up in the midst of the struggle. I know if I don't fight this insane behavior, I will continue to live behind these jail bars. I will continue to be strung out on drugs. And the ends are all the same. Jails, institution, and death. So I promised God and myself on June 11th, 1989, I will never lose my freedom again. I know that with true freedom comes responsibility. And on this day, I express my freedom responsibly on my quest to be the best. I live this promise, and still to this day, as I'm reading this to you, and I will continue for the rest of my life. Willie the Bam Johnson. It's interesting, during these times of uncertainty, COVID-19, the violence, you turn on the internet, people are beating up women, people are disrespecting policemen, policemen are fighting and hurting and taking lives. It's so chaotic. These are things that I talk about in my book. I have witnessed and experienced firsthand. And I had to fight so hard to express myself in a peaceful and loving way, so I can be a living example for the next generation of children, to give them hope, to let them know that you can be all you want to be. You don't have to go through the insanity that enslaved me since I was the age of 6 years old. My mission is to continue to push and strive so children can see that in the midst of all this insanity right now, today, it's important that we find creative solutions to give them a sense of hope, faith, possibilities. As adults and leaders, we can no longer abandon our responsibility to show them good examples and be the beacon of light and hope, not the reinforcement of violence and insanity. As my son Messiah asked me a question one day during all this negative, Dad, have they found a cure for corona? No, son. Well, geez, these people are not practicing social distancing, Dad. Children can see, just like I seen. Well, I just responded, and I went inside myself, and I became a rebel. A rebel for a cause that I thought was the only cause was available. And that was the cause that brought about the negative choices that I made. Through looking through my emails, during these negative days, these days of darkness, I seen a letter that said, "You have won again. You have won the Best Book Award for the Best Young Adult Nonfiction." I'll say that again. It says, "You have won once again the best book for the young adult nonfiction category. One of the biggest independent book competitions in the world." This is the first award that we won, and it reads, "Best Book Award, 16th Annual Award sponsored by American Book Fest. Winner, Young Adult Nonfiction. The Complete Martial Artist, Development of Mind, Body, and Spirit of a Champion, Self-Mastery, Empowering Youth." Our second award, God is Good. This is the second round of publication for this book. The first time this book came out, it was on the new author's bestsellers list and changed so many lives. At that time, I was too immature, ignorant to understand the power of these spoken words, because I was raised to think that fame equals wealth. I thought that it was about being famous. It was about publishing a book, doing TV shows, and being famous, and thinking that that was going to change my life. I did not realize what I should have been doing to empower other people beyond just a book. And I thought I would get rich from publishing a book. Today I know differently. And during other times of darkness, many people reminded me of these spoken words that came through me from a higher power to other people. one such person, Byron Menz, one of the stars of the hip-hop classic South Central. That movie impacted my life tremendously when I came home from incarceration in search of trying to break the cycle of a deadbeat dad. The movie instead brought tears to my eyes, and every time I would go and see that movie, a couple of times I seen my instructor, Master Brown, as I exit the theater, and he reminded me, that was your story, Bam. That was your story. And one day, at the famous Dragon Fest with me and my wife and my son, Marco, I ran into Byron Menz. As the chills went through my body and we just was head over heels for meeting one another and debating about who was whose number one fan, I looked up to him, he looked up to me, and it was such a joy to meet him and to connect. Lord and behold, after passing him a mixtape, the mixtapes that I normally would do down in this basement like we're doing right now, I gave him one. And one day, after a rough moment of leaving my martial arts school and dealing with so much darkness at that time, I seen a message on my voicemail. And when I listened to it, it was Mr. Byron Menz. I immediately picked up that phone and I called him. And the connection that we have on a spiritual level, the rest is history. That was over 15 years ago. And one time, during that dark moment, when he was a beacon of light, hope, and positive counseling for a black man like me, to show me how to break the negative cycle and to fight and beat down all my demons and realize the gifts that God has given me, he read a powerful quote to me. And the quote impacted my spirit tremendously. I said, whoa, where did you get that quote from? Where did that come from? He said, your book. What? Have you read your book? You wrote it. At that moment, I stopped and realized, no, I didn't read the book. I forgot all about what the book was all about. If those words can change me again, when they came through me, I need to stop and go back to read the book. And he said, yes, my brother, the book is timeless. So I began to go back and dig down and read the book. And after another encounter with a young man by the name of Champ Nichols, Damon John speaking manager, when he realized I had wrote such a book, he said, whoa, man, you got a book, a real book published before Damon got his real book published. You need to gut that book out and bring that book back to surface, because that book can change some lives, my brother. And I did just that. I began to go back and learn to appreciate a power that God had blessed me with by speaking through me, to be able to speak to so many kids and parents. And there you have it. YMMA came to me one day after 15 years of saying no. One day they said, we're going to say yes, Willie. The one book we want to publish is the classic called The Complete Martial Artist. And the rest is history. And it's because of that decision they made that this book has now begun to resurface and change more lives and win more awards. And one of the things I wanted to make a commitment to today, before we even signed the deal, was let me do the book. Let me get my team to take the photos. And as I fought for the cover to demonstrate my level of growth today, which is a reflection of my family, I fought real hard to make sure that this book had my whole family on the front cover. And as this book is racking up awards and changing lives, I wanted to figure out other ways to share this universal message, these timely words that came through me. So that's how the idea of a movie came about. How can we turn these principles into a movie that talks about the principles of martial arts, realizing that all we need is already inside of us. It's beyond the violence. It's beyond killing. Sometimes we all go into moments of darkness. Rather than reacting, we got to learn how to respond, what the book talks about. And that's what this movie is all about. I wanted to tap back into my God-given strength that's always been about my love of entertainment. I've been making movies since I was 9 years old, going to the movie theaters and filming the pictures on the giant screen, taking pictures with my Kodak camera at the time, filming the words of the films on my cassette player, and coming back to my homemade dojo and practicing and listening. I would write to Hong Kong. I would get returned letters that would say I was crazy. A couple of times I got some great responses that gave me a chance to start fan clubs for Sonny Chiba and Bruce Lee at the time. But I never gave up. I would write, and my instructor Kenneth Parker would help me correct the spelling for the articles and for the scripts. And one time I put together a script, and that project was called The Deadly Game of Death. It was my way to show Bruce Lee how much he changed me and empowered me. And also it was my resume to show people that I could show an incredible display of Chinese weapons with an urban flair and that urban flavor. We did it, but we didn't complete it, and I continued my journey. And my journey led me to actually putting together a movie called The Deadly Game of Death that my son starred in, Marco the Answer Johnson. And the movie immediately got distribution from the great Isaac Florentine and Don Warner of Rising Suns Productions. The movie sold out, but I wanted it that bad that during another time of darkness, after me and my wife and my family and students shot it, I was left with the task to edit it and teach myself how to use the computer. That started with my wife showing me how to do such. And now we're here again. We're here again with another movie that started out with a great plan. It was meant to be completed and done in a manner that would empower and change people's lives. But guess what? One of the things that we learn as a champion, champions do what they have to, not what they want. When you begin to live a life doing whatever you want to and not what you have to, and thinking that you're going to get another chance, then guess what? Things don't get completed. Things sometimes get lost. Stress, bad energy comes about. Negativity comes about. And then guess what? Things just don't get done. And that's what happened. It was meant to be an opportunity to show to the world what we're capable of now with a winning team. You got to always plan your work and work your plan, because things going to go chaotic, but a hope, a shine of brightness and light to the world today in the midst of this COVID-19 and this craziness that's going on all over the world. So I got back up and began to edit. And when I looked at this, it was some incredible footage, some life-changing footage. And what we want to do, of one, showing you that don't let anything stand in your way. I don't care what's going on. I don't care how dark things may seem. Find a way to dig down inside yourself. Get creative. Step your game up and do what God has gifted you to do. Share that message. Share that vision with the world. And let them smile and let them see that kids can do and be what all they want to be. And most importantly, let's have some fun. Let's have some good old-fashioned family fun and enjoy and celebrate the principles of the martial arts. And that's what this movie is all about. A celebration of being a complete martial artist. The development of the mind, body, and spirit of a champion. I remember this journey from films to mixtapes and working and interviewing some of the greatest minds in our business world, martial arts world, entertainment world, all over. And I remember a tour I was about to go on with some of the greatest African American motivators, coaches, mentors, and businessmen. And I was that martial arts expression, all based upon this book, The Complete Martial Artist. And I remember one event I had with Damon John.
We have a kid like struggling right now, not feeling a sense of hope or opportunity to go forward. What would you say to him, knowing that there's so many kids look up to you and want to be like you?
First of all, I would tell a kid to do what he loves. Now, I always say that, but what do you really love? Think about it. Before I walked in and saw that Carl Canal was making clothes, I didn't realize I could make clothes. Now, if you like video games, you know there's programmers that make that get paid millions of dollars. If you like sports and you're an athlete, but you can't play it, every single athlete has at least 10 to 15 people around him in the background, not his entourage that works for the NBA, ESPN magazine, trainers, everything else, that basically are the reason why he exists. So don't always look at those one or two and don't think you can't do it. If you like driving cars, then you can be a technical engineer. So you have to understand that anything you love to do, you can do it because somebody's doing it. You understand?
Such an honor, because he inspired me. Always set the goals to model some of the things that he did. Reflect on that interview. It was a great opportunity. Once again, one of those life-changing moments. I would always watch Shark Tank, me and the family. And I watched that thing and I said, man, in my mind, I can do it. But I'd be careful to speak out, because a lot of times, just like coming up as a kid, that's why this is so important. Everybody would say, no, you can't do this. No, you can't be this. No, you can't do this. There were so many naysayers. And I remember saying it over and over that I could do that. I could do that. And after being told no,
ABC's hit show Shark Tank comes to D.C.
And people lined up around the convention center today. Some of them got in line on Wednesday to pitch their ideas. Steve Shinavy joins us with all the Shark Tank excitement.
Yeah, we found a few things that could have fit in that Batman utility belt. No shortage of ideas as part of this week's Kingonomics Summit. It uses Dr. Martin Luther King's economic teachings to promote entrepreneurship and innovation. As part of this, ABC's Shark Tank set up shop today at the convention center, looking for a few new ideas from the D.C. region.
What I have is a transform address.
My pitch is the mending pen.
It's going to be revolutionize boating.
What all these people have in common is believing they have the next great idea.
It's got a 1.5 pound base, solid metal base.
From electronics to the great outdoors.
My product is titled Single Chair Mosquito Protection Net.
And proof necessity really is the mother of invention.
Have you ever been to the bathroom and there was no toilet paper? It can fit inside of your pocketbook, in your pants pocket.
All trying to land a spot on Shark Tank. We got the scoop on how to make a successful pitch.
Have energy, be excited. Personality goes a long ways. The sharks are people. They're not just looking at numbers. They buy into you just as much as they buy into your business or product.
And they'll fight each other for a piece of the action.
As for the sharks, they actually have no idea what pitches they'll be hearing.
I don't think people realize the only thing we know when they walk into the Shark Tank is their first name. It's not easy because you're making big decisions for a lot of money, and it's our money.
The auditions are just part of the larger Kingonomics Summit, scheduled around the anniversary of the March on Washington to help minority business owners. Laurel, Maryland's Willie Johnson pulled no punches with his family-friendly MMA pitch.
Rather than reinforcing the violence that we see plaguing our society, how can we take something that everybody loves and bring it and make it safe?
While D.C. residents Carrie Hilligus,
from an inner-city school teacher to try to be in the sports accessory market, it's a big leap.
And Debbie Miller,
we are changing the world one muffin at a time,
joined hundreds of others hoping D.C. is their launching pad for fame and fortune.
Shark Tanks, I'm coming after you guys.
Hey, we wish them all the best. As for who might actually make it on the show, there's no quota, so it may be 5 people from D.C. who make it to the next round of auditions in L.A., or it may be 50 people. This is the last of the 7 auditions for Shark Tank season number 5, so hopefully we get some good local representation. Autry?
Didn't tell anyone until the day it was time to go, and me and my kids went to the Shark Tank audition to present to the world Point MMA. It was an incredible experience. We made it to the second round of Shark Tank. It led into other callbacks with TV shows called Sweat Equity, The Fitness Project. So many other great things came about it, and it also empowered the program that we created called Point MMA, which is now currently known as Kids Point MMA 37 Chamber. The beautiful thing about this, when I wrote the book, The Complete Martial Artist, Point MMA was already a part of the book, but we called it freestyle sparring. At that time, I wanted it once again to reflect what we did in the inner cities, how we sparred in the dojos of old, and that's what the book talked about. So this second time around, I realized that, hold up, now I need to give the title that people are familiar with to the original title, which is freestyle sparring. So if anybody heard of Point MMA, and if you do know of Point MMA, which is now currently been recognized as a category of competition for the United States Fight League that governs youth MMA around the world, where they're pushing to have youth MMA or MMA as a whole in the Olympics. So they're the only governing body that competes in international competitions all over the world. So not just that we get a great opportunity to be on Shark Tank and change the world of sports karate by bringing this element to the sport, but we also got a chance to become a real category of competition in the United States Fight League. So that's such an honor, and I wanted to make sure that when we did this book the second time around, we included the name Point MMA. And when you look in the book, it's no different. It is what freestyle sparring has always been. It's what we call Point MMA today. And let's listen to what some of the great martial artists have to say about Point MMA, and let's witness some of the action of Point MMA before we get into this movie.
With a couple jumping jacks, do a little like 10-minute spurt, like, warm up or something,
I wanted to be a champion, but everybody else wanted to be a teacher when they was a little kid. But at the master's food, and that's why I want to be a champion. God bless it.
This is more than a recording. This is energy that's not released often. Most of your enemies can only take portions. Something that consumes your competition with exhaustion. All you need is 2 minutes, dude, and it's 1 round. This is the rundown, Shaolin at sundown. Showed up the jungle just to rumble and you run now. Improve your technique while your people try to run wild. This is Point MMA. Champions don't sit and play unless you fight sweeter than Chick-fil-A's lemonade. Don't be nervous, many men have been afraid. Time for a change, see the difference a minute made. Lyrical renegade, I do it for the culture. Filled with more energy than Iron Man's repulsors. Strap on your gloves, we gon' show you who the boss is. Time to learn your lesson, don't forget your true culture. Your body hits harder. You never seen someone who fights like this, like this. You better think smarter if you ever really plan to fight like this, like this. Technically, how you technically gloves and bow right after the gong. Fireballs in the palms, electric glows from the arms. What I envision when I'm making this song is I want this thing forever, like I'm Drake and LeBron. You dig in the trenches and hustle and working and hoping that this song for certain's not the extended version. But it will not stop me, cause probably the price to stop is too costly. Making your head rock from the lockers to the car seat to the corporate office lobby. Leather interior inside the Ferrari. Cause and kamikaze. These are apologies for sorry. Are we here to battle? Or are we taking on zombie armies? Fighting like Chuck Norris and Bruce while training these players like Vince Lombardi. Your body hits harder. You never seen someone who fights like this, like this. You better think smarter if you ever really plan to fight like this, like this. Technically, how you 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 your body hits harder. You never seen someone who fights like this, like this. You better think smarter if you ever really plan to fight like this, like this. Technically, how you technically, how you technically, how you technically, how you no rival, no rival. Tell them to play hard or go home. No rival, no rival. How you gonna act now when I never get down? No rival, no rival. Tell them to play hard or go home. No rival, no rival. How you gonna act now when I never get down? Your body hits harder. You never seen someone who fights like this, like this. You better think smarter. If you ever really plan to fight like this, how you technically, how you technically, how you technically, your body.
Let's look at this movie like Bruce Lee's Game of Death. Because of life circumstances, he was not able to complete it the way he wanted to. But because of the pureness and expression of what he wanted to get across, people that loved him and cared about him and protected his legacy went out and figured a way to put it out. And that's what we did with The Secrets of the Complete Martial Artist. So as I read from this book, I want us to know that my personal experience, once again, comes from principles. As we go through the movie, I want to read directly from the book to you about the messages that we're trying to get across to you in every scene of this project. And that's what we did with The Secrets of the Complete Martial Artist. And at the end of this, we would probably like you to also go out and watch The Deadly Game of Death. And we want the world to know that we're here to turn out entertaining projects to empower youth and their parents so we can make an impact in the world and bring about positive solutions. We want to empower the next generation of martial artists. My quest was always to teach the principles of martial arts to children from all different walks of life, to the demographic of people that, guess what? If it wasn't for that demographic of people in the urban communities, we would not even have got a chance to see Bruce Lee or see the martial arts the way we see him today. And somewhere along the way, that quality of martial arts is gone from those environments. This is not just a program based upon, I hate to use the term underprivileged youth. This is a program that's for everyone on a universal level. It doesn't matter your color, your race, your creed, your sex, your economical background. What matters is that as humans, as the human family, we know that the principles of martial arts can change lives all over the world. It has. And look at what it did for me. In the wake of everything being at social distancing and training online and streaming systems, we want you to know that you still can be good even that way, because I am a living example.
In Baltimore, Civil War, bullets flying, don't care who you gunning for. Really hardcore, and you paying the price of war. Traumatized through your life, and you stuck on the second tour. Blacks going at whites, and whites going at blacks. It's like you can get with this one, or you can get with that. Taking Prozac while you bounce back to make it through. Cause Corona got us deep in depression, we going cuckoo. Look at the world view, they conjured up some evil voodoo. The government is taboo, you paying out the wazoo. So put the bottles up, they ain't popping them corks. They airing out the streets, they got it popping up in New York. So stay alive, cause living 9 to 5 and even 5 to 9, you walking a fine line. It's just hard to see a dream where all you dream is just for you to live. Trying to give it all that you can give. Yeah, you just a kid.